My Tylenol. Good start. Good start. My Tylenol has doubled since last time we met. Ah, double the autism, double the fall. Appears to be the current state of things on the internet nowadays. Hilarious. It's somewhat hilarious to me. Okay, alright. What kind of music do we want for today? It's a good question. Often Pokemon nostalgic music to work in the good day. Hold up, in the good day. I don't know if this is a good day, but sure. Oh, that's kinda loud. History Danger. I don't think I know the song. Cannot be that bad. Cannot be that bad. Oh boy, oh boy. Yeah, should be good. That should be good. Where's my browser? Oh, I can hide that. I should hide that even. So, Tylenol is not gonna be the first thing I talk about today. I thought it was funny, but it's not gonna be the first. First things first, let us talk about. Okay, yeah, that is correct. Talk about a little bit. Talk a little bit about streaming services. They're so good, they would never lie to me. Yeah, sure. Sure thing, buddy. Sure thing, buddy. Oh boy, oh boy. Let me move this a little bit more to the center. Oh boy, oh boy. Twitch responds, VBot rival Netflix viewership with millions of fake hours watched. Millions of fake hours watched. But I was told they were fixing the bots. I was told this never happened. Yeah, sure thing. This explains a lot, right? Now we completely understand how this keeps on happening. These strange streamers and influencers suddenly being huge. There might be foul play here. It's not only Twitch though. We don't have information about YouTube. It's not only Twitch still. Hold up, I bring up everything here. There we go. A new report on Viewbody has revealed that Twitch has had 30 million hours of fake watch time from voted viewers, while KK is at 20 million. That's not looking good. To be fair, that makes more sense. After all, I don't want to hate kick. I don't want to hate kick. But it is obviously more scuffed than Twitch, even though they pretty much stole Twitch's stuff. A really fun example of this would be how they implemented, it was either this week or last week, their kicks, which is pretty much just Twitch bits. Please, be funny, call them kicks, for once. Voting is the new thing on the internet. Content creators have purposefully used bots in the past to inflate their following and put eyes on their stuff. No, that would never happen. Nobody would ever bot their likes on Twitter. Literally every single day. However, it has come under the spotlight again in recent weeks, especially on Twitch. The Amazon platform has seen a decline in viewership since cracking down on view bots. Oh boy. Yeah, that's really obvious. Including reaching its lowest monthly viewing figures since 2020. We don't have the coup anymore. That's going to happen. Twitch has downplayed the claims of it being free fall, however. Just add more bots, it will be that easy. Our viewership is not in free fall, especially among the millions of community channels that are core to Twitch viewership. Oh, that stinks. That stinks already. We've seen some misinformation swirling. A lot of that misinformation includes data pulled from third-party sources. Those numbers are incorrect and are not from Twitch. They told Exert back in August. We have investigated ourselves, and we have found that we did nothing wrong. Our numbers are absolutely perfect. I will never believe you, people from Twitch. You keep lying. You lie more than you speak, so that's a big problem. Yes, I will believe more the third-party sources than you people on Twitch. No liars. Cannot blame me. Cannot blame me. Twitch VODs match Netflix for fake watch time. I don't know if that says a lot about Netflix, Twitch, or both. Twitch has been working on additional VOD detection tools. However, according to stream charts on audience-ly, I suppose, from audience, even though they should be audience claim, perhaps, I have no idea. There have still been enough fake watch hours to match Netflix. Which one is worse, Twitch or Netflix? I actually have no idea. I guess Twitch has actually good stuff to watch sometimes, unlike Netflix. Twitch is also free in theory, unlike Netflix, so there's also that. According to their new figures, suspicious Twitch streams generated over 30 million fake watch hours. Well, there's only mentioning suspicious Twitch streams. Not all Twitch streams. I don't know what the metric is for suspicious here. Which is comparable to the weekly viewership of a top series on Netflix. Geek also clocked in 20 million fake watch hours too. That's a big problem with Geek. That's why I cannot fully endorse Geek, even though I'm streaming there at the moment. I don't want to hate Geek, but they have a really obvious problem with bots. Not only watch bots, but just bots in general. It's really bad. It's really bad. Not good. Estimated in the late August, in late August, more than 41,000, goddamn, Twitch channels with 50 plus average viewers were flagged with at least one suspicious stream of view-botting. They reiterated that in their new white paper, claiming over 4,400 streamers showed persistent signs of view-botting too. To be fair, this is something that TikTok mentioned, right? Sometimes you're being view-botted, but it's not your fault. Maybe a company you belong to, or some sort of company that you have a sponsorship with. So, oh, they're playing this game for our sponsorship. We pump up the numbers, and now the game looks better. And then again, that's still 4,400 streamers with persistent signs of view-botting. Are they gonna get banned? No, come on. What are you, stupid? Twitch addressed stream charts findings, telling them, "We're talking openly about our view-bot detection work because we think it is an important conversation. As we have with prior updates, we'll continue to update our community on the improvements we make to our detection tools. We agree that transparency in this area is really important. As we've seen, no transparency at all, which is really funny. It's been shown that channels, recently at least, the channels that are obviously view-botting have not suffered any impact on their numbers, but people that are honest to God trying to grind their stream careers are actually experiencing lower numbers. So that's kinda funny. I'm not saying this is the anti-bot detection because I'm not sure, but there's something strange going on, especially with ads from what we've seen. Oh, it's ad time and then your views collapse by 25%. Sure, people are gonna dip out if they see ads, but it just goes back up again when the ads end. That doesn't make a lot of sense to me, but that seems once again to be a bunch of foul play. They also noted, this isn't a short-term effort, we see this as a long-term effort, and we've been not investigating, but just investing in this area for some time. We're focused on building solutions and improving our detection tools. These changes are something that Twitch have promised for a while, so it remains to be seen as to when they'll happen. There are bigger problems on Twitch at this point in time. They are not just view botting. I agree that view botting is a problem. It's an obvious problem, and I don't think it's going away at any time soon. Especially nowadays when you have AI being not only so pervasive, but also so useful. Apparently, at least that's what's been mentioned before, if you don't engage with the chat on Twitch, you don't count. Which is really funny, because bots can just copy and paste all messages from the chat. That probably has been a big problem. But if anything is a huge problem right now, would be how they keep allowing extreme rhetoric on their platform with no checks, no balances, not even applying their own rules because they don't fucking care. Which leads me to the next article, also from Dexerto. They're not mentioning exactly this, but it is related, or I think it should be. Twitch responds to TwitchCon safety concerns as Valkyrie and Cutie Cinderella drop out. We've seen this before, many times, with TwitchCon. No security. Not only that, but you see a lot of problems happening constantly. Like bad actors, let's just call them bad actors, spiking female drinks to commit, you know, probably the worst crimes in this society. Things are only getting worse. Before reading this article, I could only say that if you're considering going to TwitchCon as a content creator, maybe don't. Maybe, perhaps, do not. Especially if you're a woman. Seems like a terrible idea to me. Twitch CEO Dan Clancy directly responded to safety concerns at TwitchCon San Diego, after prominent streamers Valkyrie and Cutie Cinderella said they were too afraid to attend. TwitchCon is happening Friday, October 17th to 19th in San Diego, California. While it's one of the biggest events of the year for both the streamers and their fans, two key figures in the community aren't attending over fears of for their safety. Some people are dismissing this, it's just Cutie Cinderella, Lamau, who cares? It's a symptom of something big, something really wrong that's happening. Not just with Twitch, but also with Twitch. During a September 2025 episode of Valkyrie and Cutie Cinderella's Wang About It podcast, I think there's a missing in age, right? The two houses expressed concerns over security at the event. I'm kind of afraid to go to TwitchCon, Ray admitted. I've been so anxious and scared and sad this whole past week with everything that's been going on. Well, I don't follow Valkyrie, so I don't really know what she means, but I can make some assumptions. Even if they're wrong, they are not incorrect, which is funny. We're in a bit of a conundrum, QT agreed. We're supposed to do Wang About It live on TwitchCon. On TwitchCon, maybe? I'm not quite sure. This might be a typo. Love TwitchCon for supporting our show. I hate giving them a soft A. We're in a bit of panic mode right now. You should. You should be. Respectfully, I don't feel rational about it, she continued. I feel very scared. Yeah, there's nothing rational about this, to be fair. In the podcast, Kitty references the murder of Japanese streamer Airi Sato in March 2025. I remember that. Was stabbed to death during a live broadcast by a hater or anti-fan, as reported by Japanese media outlets. That's not what happened. That's not what happened. We read about this. It was a fan that was lending her money. The fan was like, okay, but you need to give me my money back because I gave you a lot of money. It was thousands of dollars, the equivalent of that. He went into some sort of legal battle. He got fucked through the legal battle and ended up doing the unthinkable. I don't think it's correct or good what that guy did, But it was not just a hater or anti-fan. It was more complex than that. Still, yes, they can stab you to death. Are we sure this is not London? This is just one of many frightening incidents that have happened to female streamers this year alone. Also, in March 2025, Valkyrie, along with fellow streamers Emiru and Sina, was threatened by a man who said he would kill them. Why do you put kill between quotations? When Emiru refused to give him her phone number during an IRL broadcast at Santa Monica Pier. Yeah, and I mean, I know this is the Xarda, I know they're extremely gay, so of course they had to mention many frightening incidents that happened to female streamers. Look, it is still September. Just 3 weeks ago, Charlie Kirk got killed, and as some people are trying to say right now, who cares? He was just a podcaster, he was just a content creator. Yes, that's a big deal. They will kill you for just being a guy. And if I'm being completely real, if you have any kind of spicy opinions, you shouldn't attend TwitchCon. And I don't know what's gonna happen. I don't know if they usually go to these places, but I don't know. I guess the likes of Tecton or Asmongold shouldn't set foot here at all. I don't want to think they're gonna get killed, but now it's more of a possibility than a month ago. So maybe don't. Maybe don't. Also, isn't this extremely stupid? TwitchCon. Why the fuck do you need a convention for streaming on Twitch? The main gimmick is that you can stream from anywhere in the world, and perhaps maybe outside of this planet too. Why do you want to go, of all fucking places, San Diego, California? It makes no sense. You can see the fans, you can see other streamers, but why? Let's be real, but why? I guess you can get some good deals and whatnot, but I don't think it's worth it. Especially nowadays, I don't think it's worth it. Guess they follow here a little bit more. That same month, Emerald Son was broken into by 3 armed thieves who were shot out by her husband after demanding access to her crypto wallet. I think I remember something like this. Also, I don't want to drag her around too much, but shot out by her husband. I thought her husband was extremely abusive. I guess that was a fucking lie. Twitch CEO addresses extreme safety concerns. On September 24, Twitch CEO Dan Clancy directly addressed these concerns, reassuring attendees that the event was fully focused on providing a safe experience for everyone. Though I had to remind people that TwitchCon already has a body count, not talking about fucking, talking about killing. It was that woman, I think she used to be a porn star. I don't remember her name. It's been a while. She was pregnant, she jumped into the ball pit of doom, she almost broke her back, and he had a miscarriage. That's TwitchCon security for you, baby. That doesn't seem like a good idea to me. I want to be very clear, we take security at our events, and TwitchCon extremely seriously. There's a clip, I think he mentions more than the text here. So let me stop the music for a second. And let's play this. Oh, Dan Clancy.
There's one question that has been coming up on social media, just in terms of safety and security at TwitchCon in light of recent events. So I want to be very clear. We take security at our events like TwitchCon extremely seriously. Every year, we build on a successful approach to TwitchCon safety and security, particularly
successful, Lomao. Last time it was on subject of TwitchCon, I remember on Twitter, there were a bunch of women, some vtubers even, mentioning that they got their drinks spiked, which is never good.
As we become aware of new or emerging security or safety challenges, So we have teams focused on this year round, including keeping creators and community members safe on Twitch or at TwitchCon. We have rules and standards regarding TwitchCon attendees that therefore follow. And we limit, for example, if people who've been indefinitely suspended, off-service violations, they're not able to attend.
Off-service violations, by the way. Never like that kind of language, but this is Twitch, so it makes sense.
We also look for things that need to protect our streamers and any other issues.
Okay, sure, this is just a short clip. And I understand that it's a difficult situation, right? Even if it's true, even if they're actually doing their best, there's a big problem anyway. Because you can only protect, at best, your venue. You can't avoid people committing crimes just outside. What do you do if you get out of the building and somebody shoots you in the head? I don't think that's Twitch's fault necessarily. It is still a safety concern, so maybe don't go. Classic wanted to explain that TwitchCon has a zero tolerance policy for harassment and claim that he's taking care to make sure the event is as buttoned up as possible. Fucking Lamau. Fucking Lamau. Zero tolerance policy for harassment. Get the fuck out of here. Get the fuck out of here. It's really funny when one of your best or biggest streamers, your golden boy, keeps spouting pro-terroristic narratives on your platform. He's not getting banned. Thus far, neither Valkyrie, QT, nor Pokemon has responded to Clancy's comments, which come at a time of increased fear for influencers making appearances in live events. They want to mention Charlie Kirk, they are not mentioning Charlie Kirk. Which is really funny. This situation is really obvious to me. It's not good. It's clearly really dangerous to be out and about as a content creator when you might have somewhat spicier takes. Just somewhat spicier, okay? I don't know, man. Seems like a bad idea overall. Speaking of bad ideas, I guess. I can start talking about Tylenol right now. I feel myself a little bit short. What happened here? Oh, I see. I see what happened. I see what happened. It was the chair. It collapsed a little bit on me. That explains a lot. It's all chair, please understand. So, apparently, Trump makes an proven link between autism and Tylenol. From Mallory Halpert and Nadine Youssef. Surely this is not gonna be biased. Doctors in the US will soon be advised not to prescribe the pain reliever Tylenol to pregnant women. US President Donald Trump said, setting a disputed link between the drug and autism. This has been extremely stupid this past week. It is disputed. People are extremely retarded, and I'm tired of this. But cannot be sure it causes autism. That's not what anybody is saying. What people are saying, what studies are saying, is there's a correlation between Tylenol and increased chances of autism. It doesn't mean taking Tylenol like pills, it's gonna produce autism in your baby. It's not saying that. It's only saying it increases the risk, which is fair, apparently. But since it was Orange Man, nah, it's a lie. It's not allowed. Get the fuck out of here. The US president claimed on Monday that taking Tylenol, during a paracetamol elsewhere, is no good. That pregnant women should fight like hell to only take it in cases of extreme fever. I guess that's actually fair. People are saying, but there's nothing wrong with that. Stop fucking lying. Okay, stop fucking lying. Pregnant women have huge control of what they can, I'm gonna say, ingest. Not only medicine-wise, but also food. Stuff like fish might be ill-advised because of the fucking mercury, and you're gonna tell me that you can just pop in the pills like it's nothing? Yeah, I just don't believe you. Medical experts have strongly pushed back on the claims, with some calling the president's comments dangerous. Medical experts, how many? It's not all of them, obviously not, which is really funny. Health officials in the UK have stressed that paracetamol remains the safest painkiller available to pregnant women. It being the safest doesn't mean it's innocuous. There's two different words, two different descriptions. Because sure, I suppose that getting shot by a small caliber, it's safer than being shot by a bigger caliber. It's still bad. It's still dangerous. Say the fucking whistle word in fucking BBC. UK Health Secretary West Sweden said, I trust doctors over President Trump, frankly, on this. He didn't make this shit up. There are studies about this. Wait, what are you talking about also? I know this is the BBC, but perhaps in the UK it's a different composition from the USA. It has a different name, might be a different composition. I don't know. That makes sense to me. The American College of Obstetricians and Gynecologists disputed the link made by Trump in the Oval Office on Monday. They're acting like this guy's just making shit up. Now there are studies about this. Once again, President Dr. Stephen Fleischman, the Tylenol claim is not backed by the full body of scientific evidence and dangerously simplifies the many encompassed causes of neurologic challenges in children. Is not backed by the full body of scientific evidence. Not a lot of things are when we talk about healthcare, which is funny. Not a lot of things are when we're talking about science, which is really funny. We have to talk about the fucking coof and the jab. Get the fuck out of here. And once again, it's not simplifying the many complex causes of neurologic challenges in children. It's mentioning a correlation between the two, which makes sense. It's not saying it's causation. It's not saying it's gonna happen 100% of the time. It's not saying it's the only plausible cause. Stevens being clowns, yeah, that makes sense. Studies having conducted in the past show no clear evidence that proves a direct relationship between the prone use of acetaminophen during any trimester and fetal development issues. The statement added. Sure. University doctors who use Food and Drug Administration use modern language than Trump. I mean, it's the Orange Man. It's a little bit explosive of a guy. The agency said doctors should consider limiting the use of Tylenol, but also take into account that it is the safest over-the-counter option to treat fever and pain in pregnant women, which can also harm maternal and fetal health. Yes, I understand that it's the safest. And I understand there's a case use for it. Nothing wrong with that. That doesn't mean it's innocuous. Look, in the past 5 years I understood that they make health as well as doctors, medics and whatnot. They're a bunch of fucking idiots too. Also a bunch of fucking liars. So it's kinda bad. To be clear, while an association between acetaminophen and autism has been described in many studies, a causal relationship has not been established and there are contrary studies in the scientific literature, the FDA wrote. Yes, sure, that's fair. Being wary of Tylenol is fine when you have seen these correlations. Just not. You don't have to risk it, right? It's more than fair. Speaking alongside Trump, Health Secretary Robert F. Kennedy Jr. said the FDA will also begin the process of initiating a safety level change on the medication and launch a public health campaign to spread awareness. Awareness! It's not gonna be illegal to pop Tylenol. It's just maybe ill-advised. You know, that's Oh, we cannot agree with anything with the Orange Man. That's illegal, for some reason. Tylenol is a popular brand of pain relief medication sold in the US, Canada, and some other countries. Its active ingredient is acetaminophen, better known as paracetamol inside of North America. Cool. It's probably a compound with more stuff, which is also interesting. Not saying it's the other stuff, but there might be reactions. Not a chemist. The drug is recommended by other major medical groups as well as other governments around the world. In a statement to the BBC, Tylenol maker Kenfu said the science clearly shows that taking acetaminophen does not cause autism. The science. The science. Well, I don't know about all that. I don't know about all that. We strongly disagree with any suggestion otherwise, and are deeply concerned with the health risk this poses for expecting mothers. Kennedy added on Monday that the FDA would soon approve leucovorin, a decades-old drug traditionally used to protect cancer patients against toxicity from chemotherapy, to be used as treatment for children with autism. I mean, if it works, I guess it makes sense. I don't know anything about the leucovorin. I'm not a chemist, I have no fucking idea. I had a lot of trouble with chemistry back in school, actually. FDA Commissioner Marty Malarkey? Fucking Marty Malarkey said the approval will be based on research that he said suggests the drug may help children with autism who are deficient in folate, which is kinda funny, form of vitamin B, and improve their verbal communication. But researchers have cautioned that the science is still in the very early stages, and more work is needed before any firm conclusions can be reached. They're not even banning Tylenol. Come on. It's really interesting this shit about folate. Has being a lot of trouble, I guess, in recent times with all things related to folates and folic acids. I don't know if they are the same, but they can cause a lot of trouble, especially for mothers. Nowadays, yeah, we're better equipped to deal with a bunch of this stuff. So it's not as bad, but just decades ago, having a deficiency on that as an expecting mother could kill you, and could also cause some strange stuff on the baby. Like, how do they call that? Bifid spine or something like that, which is really bad. So, kind of interesting that something that has been happening, at least in some places, more commonly, could be related, perhaps, to autism. But the problem is also more common nowadays. Some people say, well, we have better tools to for diagnosis. Sure, I guess that is also true. But, I don't know, seems to be way too many. Seems to be far too common to be normal. In April, Kennedy pledged a massive testing and research efforts to determine the cause of autism in 5 months. Trump apparently called the rise in reported autism cases a horrible crisis, and an issue that he has very strong feelings about. Experts have cautioned that finding the cause of autism, complex syndrome that has been researched for decades, will not be simple. Of course not. But working in that path seems to be extremely relevant nowadays. 5 months, extremely optimistic. But trying to determine causes for that seems to be good. Even though nowadays still touted as some sort of conspiracy theory, and I love me some conspiracies, there have been some cases of kids that were okay, they were normal. They took a vaccine and suddenly the development collapsed. And you have to be real with this, right? But vaccines didn't cause autism. But not every single dose has the exact same composition. And these things use metals, even heavy metals, not the music. I wish that was the case. So, even a small imbalance in a kid that may not have the perfect health for those kinds of components could cause a terrible mishap like this. I'm saying it's the cause, but I'm saying maybe heavy metals are a little bit dangerous. I like the music is cool. There are more things to be afraid, not just the vaccines, especially when you see that now vaccines, they can just inject you with like 5 at a time, which seems like too much. When I was a kid, I actually got sick while taking vaccines, so I was taking vaccines half a dose at a time. So yeah, one of those 5 at a time, that would fuck me up. Not gonna lie. Physical defense pretty good. I don't know, against the special effects, not that great, I suppose. If only held view of researchers that there is no single cause of autism, which was thought to be the result of a complex mix of genetic and environmental factors. Yeah, that is kinda long. It's okay. In August, a review of research led by the Dean of Harvard University's Chang School, Harvard Chang, School of Public Health, I guess, found that children may be more likely to develop autism and other neurodevelopmental disorders when exposed to Tylenol during pregnancy. And look at this wording. More likely. Just more likely. Which, it's first, just pure statistics. But even saying that, nah, you cannot say that. Out of 46 studies, including the review, 27 identified the positive link between taking Tylenol and children developing neurodevelopmental disorders, which is probably lower than what you would need to make a proper assessment, I guess. Researchers argued that some steps should be taken to limit the use of the drug, but said it was still important for treating maternal fever and pain. Limit use of the drug, I think it's fair. From what I've read, once again, I'm not an expert, I'm not a chemist, I'm not a healthcare practitioner or anything like that. I'm just a fucking guy on the internet that knows how to read sometimes. The thing here is that, and I guess that's why it's not prescribed for kids, even though it's over the counter. The main component here, the acetaminophen, it's not properly synthesized, I suppose. I think that's not the correct word. But metabolized, perhaps. Kids are not ready to take it. That's the point, right? So if kids are not ready to take it, of course it might have adverse effects on kids. Of course it might have adverse effects on fetuses. That's not something really stupid to say, I feel. I think that's proper extrapolation of information. What do I know, I guess? Not as much as people on TikTok, as we will see in a little bit. But another study published in 2024 found no relationship between exposure to Tylenol and autism. It was conducted by looking at the population sample of 2.4 million children born in Sweden between 1995 to 2019. See, but this is kind of the problem. We're thinking about Sweden. Could there be a geographical component to this? Because Tylenol is mainly American. I don't think you can have Tylenol in Sweden. Maybe, maybe not. You will have paracetamol, which the basis would be pretty much the same, but you have different balances and components, or a heavier version, I guess. It's gonna have different effects. How the fuck do I understand this, but not the experts? Well, the experts went to college, so you know it's bad. Yeah, I don't think I've ever mentioned this, but I was quite disappointed with healthcare experts back in the times of the coup. I was more informed, just as a fucking idiot on the internet, what was going on with the jab than actual doctors that I know. Which is quite depressing. That shouldn't be the case. I'm supposed to be very intelligent. They gotta need good memory, apparently. There's no robust evidence or convincing studies to suggest there is any casual... Oh, not casual. Causal relationship, said Monique Botha. Both of these nuts. A professor in social development psychology at Durham University in the UK. Once again, different country, probably with different products. I think that's an important takeaway of this. The National Autistic Society, a British group, yeah, I could tell, representing autistic people and their families, called Trump's claims about Tylenol and autism irresponsible, and said he had devalued autistic people. No? What are you talking about? He's not even saying they're a bunch of drug addicts. I get that these fucking people hate Trump, but come on, be real for once. The incessant misinformation about autism from President Trump and Bobby Kennedy risk undermining decades of research by respected experts in the field, the group said. They're only saying there's a correlation between taking Tylenol while you're being pregnant and having the kid with autism. That's everything they're saying, which, statistically speaking, seems to be somewhat correct. God fucking damn it, dude. Haley Trennan, a 29-year-old from Austin, Texas, who is pregnant for the first time, said the announcement made her nervous, and she had to take Tylenol during her first trimester for headaches. I mean, try to not overuse it, obviously. This announcement, if made without the proper context, would worry a lot of other people as well, she said. It seems a little unnecessary just because the headlines are clear that the data is not irrefutable. Without the proper context, they have like an hour expose on this, officially. It was too long, I refused to watch it. So you know it's actually long. Autism diagnoses have increased sharply since 2000, and by 2020 the rate among 8-year-olds reached 2.77%, according to the US Centers of Disease Control and Prevention. Scientists attribute at least part of the rise to increased awareness of autism, expanded definition of the disorder. Expanded definition. Yeah. Then like, I don't know if it was ADHD or ADD, now supposed to be under the umbrella of autism. I don't know if that makes any sense. Researchers have also been investigating environmental factors. In the past, Kennedy has debunked theories about the rising rates of autism, believing vaccines despite a lack of evidence. I don't need to go on this thread again. I already said it here. Trump has also promoted unsubstantiated medical claims, including during the COVID-19 pandemic. He was actually right. Get the fuck out of here, BBC. Stop taking your BBC up the ass. Oh boy, that's kind of trash. I don't remember the COVID times. Oh no, like this, man. He's saying you have to inject bleach to heal from the COVID. Well, first of all, he didn't say that. He didn't say that. They were talking about some sort of cleansing procedure you could undergo, and he said it was like bleach, meaning it's very good. Now you have to inject bleach onto your blood. That's going to kill you, you stupid ass. He was not saying that, of course not. And obviously, since we live in the most stupid times I've ever seen in my whole life, which might not be enough of a lifetime to make that assessment, but at the same time, I guess we can all agree that there's a lot of stupid people nowadays. I've seen many TikToks, not on TikTok, I refuse the Chinese app, or I guess right now the Israel app? I have no idea. Just defying the science because they don't like the science. Just taking a bunch of Tylenol. Like, they could say, do not drink literal bleach because it's bad for you. And they will be like, you know what? Fuck you, you're gonna tell me what to do, and then get killed. So there was some sort of story running around here. Of course, we have Tecton being a little funny. In the next 72 hours, a liberal woman will have killed themselves and their unborn child by ODing and Tylenol, all because of trans brain syndrome. And we have this story here, which it'd be fun if it was true, but doesn't seem to be the case. American ER nurse confirms there's a major spike in women being admitted to the ER because they took too much Tylenol. Hilarious. Liberals are poisoning themselves to protest autism findings. This is actually fucking happening. In ER nurse, and lately, there's been a spike of women coming in, especially women. There's been a spike of women coming in, especially women. What is this? What is this claim? Ah yes, these women are made of women. Okay, alright. Coming in with poison because they took too much Tylenol or acetaminophen. So this is actually fucking happening. These are adult women, and they are now sending themselves to the emergency room because they are taking too much Tylenol out of spite for Trump. I looked into this. There's no credible source for this. Apparently there are like a couple of TikTok nurses saying the same shit. So it's probably fake and gay. Just trying to go viral, I suppose. It wouldn't be surprising if this was the case. It'd be funny if this was the case. I don't think this is happening, I'm afraid. However, despite what this big black cock sucking cocks are saying here, we have perhaps some proof. From Reuters, 2013. Too much Tylenol in pregnancy could affect development. 2025. Trump links autism to Tylenol and vaccines, claims not backed by science. Which is it? Which is it? Come on. And here we have a little bit smaller. The children tend to have poorer motor skills than kids whose mothers have taken the drug fewer times or not at all. Tylenol sports kids also tend to start working later, have poor communication language skills, and more behavior problems. I don't know, man. I don't know. We also have this here, which is hilarious. March 7th, 2017. Oh, what a birthday present. From the Tylenol Twitter account, we actually don't recommend using any of our products while pregnant. Thank you for taking the time to voice your concerns today. This is another tweet from 2019. I didn't say it, but you can look it up. Fucking Pusavik here. What the hell? Yes, this is a common occurrence. And I don't know too much about medicine. I try to avoid this best as I can. Not a big fan of taking anything, really. If I'm catching a cold and it's really obvious I'm catching a cold, I might take something just to destroy it immediately. So I don't know if you can actually overdose on Tylenol. I'm pretty sure overusing the medicine will have adverse effects. So even though this story here seems to be fake, they mention a woman that it's actually really inconsistent. They mention she died, but at the same time they mention she's dependent on a respiratory device right now, so which is it, right? That seems to be fake. Having a spike in women being admitted to the ER because they took too much Tylenol, it's probably believable to some extent. Not as lethal, I guess, but it's still believable. I think that pisses me off with all of this here. I guess we can go back to this one while I speak my piece. Is that you have a lot of people right now actually undermining autism in itself. Saying, oh, but you don't need to fix autism. Autism is a superpower. Autism is a big fucking problem. It has been mystified beyond belief in the past decade and a half. Especially thanks to the likes of the Big Bang Theory, which is never good. Sure, you have some autistic people or people that have some autistic traits being highly successful, like, I suppose, Elon Musk. We're forgetting something really important. Those people, they're widely successful because they are extremely smart. I would say, at least talking about Elon, he's really smart in something very specific. You take the guy out of that, he's a fucking moron. And that's fair, that's fair. He is, what do you call that, a savant? I think that's the proper term. A specialist, I suppose. That's fine, nothing wrong with that. But some people have also said, right, that to have a true genius, you need to have a smidge of autism. I don't know if that is true or not. But you have the ugly part of autism that people don't really want to talk about, and it is a huge fucking problem. Because you have a lot of people, not just kids, even adults, that are pretty much non-functional. And that's actually fucking terrifying when you consider a bunch of things going on with... There are at least comorbidities with autism nowadays, right? Like having kids too late, when you're late 30s, early 40s, that's way too late to be having kids. And that also correlates with an increase in autism cases. I understand that current society is really fucked. Not a lot of people can actually allow themselves to have kids young anymore. So I don't know how you avoid this, right? But it is a huge fucking problem. Because, oh, he just went non-verbal. And they just conflate autism with antisocial behaviors or social anxiety. It's not the same. Sure, everything has in common that those poor social skills, it's not the same. It has nothing to do with each other. They're completely separate. And you have other people that don't really speak. They're in their own world, and that's... something like that shouldn't be celebrated, okay? That's really damaging. Not to the person, obviously. Not only to the person, I'm trying to say, but to everybody around them. They're gonna be dependent their whole lives. And if you can avoid that, I think that's a victory. Of course, we talk about, oh, funny autism, I'm steaming, I have hyperfixations and whatnot. That's just miming around, right? That's... sure, that would be a twinge of the autism, perhaps. But that's not autism at large. That's what they call the high-functioning autism, right? Even though it might not be a scientific term, it's an easy term to use to understand people that can... I don't want to say work properly, but I'm gonna say work properly, right? Not even behave, but... it's self-explanatory. Function, right? There's no other way of explaining it. And there's an actual serious pushback against all of these efforts trying to perhaps fix or prevent autism, while completely ignoring the actual damages of autism. It's really rough. I don't know. Once again, this is weaponized because, the orange man, we don't like the orange man. Fuck off, dude, fuck off. He's not trying to fuck you over, he's just trying to do the best he can for fixing stuff that he can try and fix, right? He's not gonna fix autism, but if you can prevent autism a little bit more, it's always a positive. Speaking of, I guess, more political nonsense and people being fucking idiots, not necessarily autistic in this case. Also, this case here is speaking also of politically motivated shootings. And this anti-AI is fucking idiot here. Anti-AI's gunman Joshua Yang spent 17,500 hours playing violent video games, including right before shooting. Which is fucking hilarious. This case seems to be extremely retarded to me. I've seen a lot of people say, oh, these glows cannot be It's not a left-wing guy, it's not a guy, it's a right-wing conspiracy theorist again or whatnot, right? Sure, I understand that this case is extremely stupid. I mean, the guy was trying to shoot ICE agents. He managed to kill 2 detainees and injure a third one while completely missing the agents. He had written with a Sharpie one of the bullets anti-ice, and he ended up killing himself after failing miserably. I was saying, there's no way, this is false flag. These people are this fucking stupid. It's so stupid. I believe this is actually genuine, because nobody will believe if this was fake. It's insane. The guy was a 29-year-old fucking commie, so of course this guy was not right wing. Come on. And they're trying to spin around the narrative again. It's the BB games. It's the BB games that make you extremely violent. Dude, it's not Counter-Strike, it's not Rust, it's not... I don't remember the other games. Let's check on Reddit, shall we? Let's check on Discord activity, shall we? Let's check on Blue Sky. Come on. I've played many monster collectors through my life. Several thousand hours, right? Where are my slaves? Where are my slaves? That's what I thought. This article is extremely stupid, but we have to go through it. Video game obsessed gunman Joshua Jens nearly 17,500 hours of online gaming were largely spent in first-person shooter games and killing enemies, according to his Steam account online. To be fair, most games are aimed at killing enemies, one way or another. Since the account was opened in September 2011, he logged 729 days worth of game playing, more than 2 years. Sometimes people just leave the game open and then go to sleep, or just do something else. That amounts to nearly 15% of his entire life, including sleeping hours, on the video game platform Steam over the course of a decade and a half. Can we mention this strange narrative we have nowadays? Trying to go after Steam, censoring, violent narratives and whatnot. It's just a fucking storefront for games. How about shut the fuck up? For once, huh? That'd be pretty good. That'd be pretty good. And 29-year-old non-ambitious online pals Sam I Am and Frank Honecker spent nearly 7,000 hours in the open world survival game Rust. His online profile detailed. He's fishy, he has to be a Republican, come on. Thief 2, and Left 4 Dead 2. I guess he didn't actually play Counter-Strike, which would make more sense. Rust pits players against each other to survive the harsh environments. We can also play co-op, so I don't know what you mean. He fixated on the 2007 FPS release Team Fortress 2, logging 3,400 hours. Last playing just hours before he opened fire on the Dallas ICE facility, killing one and seriously wounding 2 others. I thought it was the other way around, killing 2 and wounding 1. Shows what I know. A lot of people play fucking Team Fortress. It's fine. It's a team game. It's not a big deal, I don't think. The great shooter targeted the ICE bus. I thought it was a van. It was transporting several detainees and agents into the Sally port at the field office Wednesday morning. He killed 1 migrant detainee and critically wounded 2 others when he began firing wildly into the facility. All law enforcement agents were injured. Just a fucking idiot, as you might expect. The game's second most played game was Ark Survival Edition. I don't know if that is correct. It doesn't appear on the list. Spending 3,500 hours or 140 days on the dinosaur-based survival game. The guy just likes survival games. I think it's fine. This is not radicalization. Also, kind of funny that you mentioned that this guy is obsessed with Team Fortress 2, with 3,400 hours. Sure, but that's slower than his second most played. It's kinda funny. I don't know, I don't know. There's 20% sort of stupid narrative as usual. I spent another 50 total days on the zombie apocalypse shooter Left 4 Dead 2, unloading another 914 hours in the physics sandbox garbage mod. Oh no, not the garbage mod! Not the garbage mod! You can play literally anything. Garbage mod is pretty much Roblox for old fucks like me. Come on, dude. He had a total of 34 games added to his account at the time of his death. He has played popular titles including GTA 5, as we can see. Less than 3 hours, Lomal, Rocket League, Counter-Strike, and PUBG. 34 games added to his account. I think I have more than 200. And I've bought less than half of those. I can get a lot of shit for free. Oh, you could before. There were a bunch of giveaways and free shit from Humble and all that. And it's not as generous, sadly. It's kind of annoying if you ask me. Am I a risk to society? I could be. I could be. Oh, there's more, hold up. Wait, hold up. Oh, GTA 5 Legacy. And GTA 5 Enhanced, I guess. Okay, sure thing. His performance is the Strong Honecker, a reference to Kurt Vonnegut's character in his satirical postmodern novel Cat's Cradle. The Emperor played as the name Hastings Impeachment between December 15th, 2019 and September 18th, 2020, correlating with the first impeachment trial of President Donald Trump. A Republican, by the way. Sure thing. The anti-AI shooter was part of 4 gaming groups on Steam, including one with only 7 other members, probably just his friends. Classic. 5 bitches get money, as the gamers called it, mocked Jen's shooting skills as he was identified as the killer. Should have hit the range a little more, one member wrote in the gaming group chat on Thursday. He missed! Users claimed. Their comment created the chat with an emoji for red character missing its head. Oh wow, okay. It kinda gross if that's supposed to be your friend, though. Jen was also awarded the mind-blowing award on his Steam game account. The FBI said he killed himself with a self-inflicted gunshot after firing multiple rounds. I've seen the images, that seems to be the case. This is fucking hilarious, as we can see. Just one of the comments here. This article superintendent is saying, video games do not make people evil, they do not make people violent. He clearly had mental issues. Yes, being a fucking commie. Versus well known as an FPS shooter with role-playing elements. It does not show any gruesome images that will turn somebody into a murderer. Not showing those images will turn you into a murderer anyway, but sure. So there's really no excuse for bringing any of that up. His video game obsession clearly wasn't his own time as a hobby, and some build up into becoming a shooter. Because they definitely don't make you a better shooter, thankfully. Unless he was aiming at what he hit. Anti-eyes and then he kills the immigrants? I don't know about that. I don't know about that. Seems really stupid. But then again, these people are extremely stupid, as we were saying. I truly believe this. I truly believe this is not a false flag. But once again, they keep trying to drag the games to the conversation. Oh, the violent games. No, it's not. No, it's fucking not, man. Come on. How many times do we have to go through this stupid narrative? Too many. My throat was actually really good, but I do believe today is gonna be a little bit shorter than usual, I'm afraid. Nonetheless, speaking of stupid narratives, I suppose, I found this the other day. Denmark Minister declares encrypted messaging not a fundamental right. This guy is lying. This guy is absolutely lying, which is really funny. Denmark's Justice Minister Peter Hummelgaard has sparked controversy by declaring encrypted messaging not a fundamental right, pushing EU initiatives like chat control to scan for illegal content and combat organized crime. Amid the industry backlash over privacy risks, this stance tests digital liberties in Europe. It's not looking good. They postponed chat control voting again. It's really funny when we're seeing that the automated systems get a little bit over 48% of false positives. I wonder how many false negatives there are too, which is really funny to think about. Probably about half. But this is not a system, this is tossing a fucking coin, which is never good. We're talking about supposed protections when they're actually going to vulnerate your liberties. Never good. In the heart of hacking, your progressive policies often clash with global tech giants. Denmark's Minister of Justice, Peter Hummelgaard, has ignited a firestorm with his recent declaration against encrypted communications. Speaking at a press conference tied to the EU's ongoing debates on digital security, Hummelgaard asserted that society must abandon the totally erroneous perception that encrypted messaging is a fundamental civil liberty. This stance, reported widely in outlets like Mastodon and echoed across social media, positions Denmark as a vanguard in the European push to curb organized crime through technological oversight, even at the potential cost of privacy norms long championed by Silicon Valley. He is lying. He is absolutely lying. It is, to my understanding, that one of the fundamental human rights is the right to privacy, which this absolute clown here is trying to vulnerate. And it's also kind of a legal shock, because in Europe, or the European Union I guess, you should have a bunch of data protection laws. But then again, those laws only affect those who believe in them. It is really that bad. Hummelgaard's comments can be made searching cross-border criminal activities. Oh boy, cross-border criminal activities, they have a solution for you. Particularly involving Swedish gangs using platforms like TikTok and encrypted apps to recruit and coordinate. I would like to know more about these Swedish gangs. I bet they are the new Swedes, so you know it's bad. As detailing a Scandinavia report from August 2024, Denmark and Sweden are collaborating to pressure tech companies into greater accountability. The Minister's rhetoric aligns with broader EU initiatives. Probably the worst news. A lot of people agree with this. I don't like that. Such as the chat control proposal, which he has architected, aiming to scan messages for illegal content while challenging end-to-end encryption standards upheld by companies like Meta and Signal. Of all possible people here, Meta and Signal, you know things are extremely rough when the good guys are Mark Zuckerberg, the Lizardman, and his cronies. They're the good guys here. That's terrifying to me. That's absolutely terrifying. Changing encryption's sacred status. Because encryption is a vehicle for privacy, which is a basic human right. God, I hate Europe with a burning passion. This bold pivot breaks sharply with tech industry norms, where encryption is viewed as essential for user privacy and data security, which is not wrong. Industry insiders argue that weakening it could expose civilians to surveillance risks. A concern amplified and posted on Twitter, where users like tech entrepreneurs have decried the as a step forward authoritarian control reminiscent of regimes in China or Russia. Do not compare this to Russia. Russia is actually more free than this. Which is extremely hilarious, unless you mean Soviet Union, which damn fair I guess. Yet Hummelgaard undeterred frames it as a necessary evolution in the fight against organized crime, pointing to incidents like gang violence spilling over from Sweden, as covered in Ibaraki last year. Law is completely backwards. Morality is completely backwards. I do remember, innocent until proven guilty. Nowadays, it's just guilty until proven otherwise if you are lucky. That's why they allow themselves to spy on you however they wish. Because you might be guilty of something. And it is their job to find what are you guilty of. Are we sure this is not the KGB? I think they had something here with Russia, after all. And the most interesting part of all this, which I will keep repeating for a while, because I have a bunch of different articles that are similar to this, is your privacy and data security. This is gonna be done by the government. The government is completely trash with technology. They are constantly 10 to 15 years behind normal users. So, this is gonna get hacked, this is gonna get leaked, this is gonna be a massive security problem. And they're not even gonna actually fight violence with this, or crimes, or whatever. When they have the time, the reports are false positives. But obviously, that's only a pretext. Denmark's approach isn't isolated. It's part of the nation's EU presidency priorities. The briefs to European Parliament committees in July 2025 are going to European Sting. It's stinging my ass, that's for sure. Ministers emphasized combating organized crime and child protection, with Home Guard hosting informal meetings in Copenhagen to roll support. This includes plans for facial recognition investigations. Is this the D app? Confirming in September 2024 IT Tech article, I guess? Signaling a broader embrace of surveillance tools. Oh boy. Oh boy. It's gonna be like China, but more gay and retarded. It's pretty funny. The tech sector's response has been swift and critical. Companies like Meta, which owns WhatsApp, face mounting EU scrutiny, with Home Guard's words fueling discussions on platforms like Twitter about potential bans on encrypted services. In post from ThisGrad24 on Twitter in September 2024. How many 24th do I need to read today? Holy. Highlight fears of outright prohibitions on apps like Telegram and Signal, garnering over 1 million views and underscoring public unease. It's all because of Telegram. Make no mistake about that. Because they refuse to give the government any kind of backdoor access. But what about the crime? What about the crime? You have other ways to persecute them without having to use some sort of security vulnerabilities. Why are you not doing that? Because that's not the point. The point is just control as fucking usual. Garnering over 1 million views and scoring an ears. Yeah, we read that. Meanwhile, Denmark's push for independence from tech giants, as noted in June 2025 story from The Local, stands to reduce reliance on Microsoft products in government, reflecting a national strategy to reclaim digital sovereignty. You would need to be tech literate for that, but you're the government. You're extremely incompetent in everything you do. Critics, including digital rights advocates, warn of slippery slopes. On Reddit's r/technologies on Reddit, discussions around Home Guard's quotes have amassed thousands of comments, with users debating the erosion of civil liberties. One thread, linked here, features analysis comparing Denmark's stance to global precedents. Encryption backdoors have led to widespread abuse. No, there's no way. The government abusing backdoors? No, come on. That would never happen. That would never happen to me. Sure thing, pal. Proponents, however, see Himmelgar's position as pragmatic. Sure. More like authoritarian, but sure. In a political piece from June 2025, Danish leaders advocate for EU-wide bans on kids' social media access, tying into broader child protection efforts. It's not a law issue, it's a parenting issue. I don't know how many times I had to say it. This includes tackling deepfakes through copyright laws on personal features, as reported by The Guardian in the same month, showcasing Denmark's innovative yet controversial regulatory toolkit. The debate extends to economic implications for tech firms operating in Europe. Insiders know that such policies could force redesigns of core products, potentially stifling innovation. But the fact check from September 2024 clarified misconceptions about app bans but confirmed Humbleguard's desire to restrict screen facilitating platforms, even if legally constrained. It doesn't matter the platform they use. The main problem, the main issue is that they're criminals. But you're willing to vulnerate everybody just to prosecute criminals. You're gonna tell me you don't have ulterior motives? Sure. Sure thing, pal. Stemmer links the EU charge. The ripple effects are felt worldwide. Twitter posts from users like DHH dating back to 2020, but resurfacing in current discourse, question why democracies allow tech companies to dictate cultural and security policies. More recent sentiments, such as those from Einar Petersen on Twitter in September 2025, label it a war on privacy, accusing the government of implementing totalitarian surveillance via EU proposals. That is true, it's also hilarious. Why democracies allow tech companies to dictate cultural and security policies? Because privacy is a basic and fundamental human right. You pushing against that makes you the bad guy, by the way, not the good guy. Oh, but what about the crime? I don't know, how about you get fucking competent cops for once? It shouldn't be that difficult, would it? Ultimately, Humbleguard's challenge to encryption norms test the boundaries of liberty in the digital age. While aimed at curbing crime, interests alienating allies in the tech world, sparking backlash that could redefine Europe's relationship with innovation. As discussions evolve, industry watchers will monitor whether this Danish gambit express imitation or ignites a privacy renaissance. God, I hope it's the second one. I do hope it's the second one. It's insane to me they're justifying limiting fundamental rights just to go after criminals. The current legal system we have in the West should be about... how to say this? Better have 1,000 criminals going free than jailing the wrong guy. Now you're gonna get fucked. Why is that? Because they want to fuck you. And there's nothing you can do about it. Once again, this is not about security. It's only a pretext. This is all about control, as usual. I've been talking about this for holy shit, I have no idea. But close to 2 years at this point in time. And it's not the only thing that's happening. Because we also have this. Digital ID plan for UK risk creating an enormous hacking target, expert warns. Oh no, that would never happen. What? The government being competent with tech? Nah, that would never happen. And I keep mentioning this. I do remember when I was back in school, studying stuff for programming and whatnot, right? At some point I had to go into a government website. It was bad. It felt like it was a website from the 90s. And it was loading as if you had an internet connection from the 90s. To the point that me, while studying tech stuff, I could make a better looking and better optimized website than the government by just using fucking templates. They're not getting better. Make no mistake about it, they're not getting better. Cybersecurity has been suffered warning as tech companies prepare to bid for potentially multi-million-pound contracts. Okay, could be worse. It could be worse. And once again, I had to mention this. This is nothing more than a social credit score. This is gonna be like China, but more stupid. Here's Starmer's plan for digital IDs risks creating an enormous hacking target, a cybersecurity expert has warned, as technology companies prepare to bid for contracts that could run into billions of pounds. I mean, with for the opposition, as if they fucking care about the opposition. The Prime Minister said the mandatory digital ID, including citizens' photos, names, dates of birth, nationalities, and residency status, will come into use by July 2029. The government said the ID will sit in a digital wallet in citizens' smartphones and use state-of-the-art encryption. State-of-the-art encryption means 2013 at best. It's gonna be trash. Also, I don't care about your encryption if it has to be on a smartphone, because those things are really vulnerable already. Alan Woodward, a professor and cybersecurity expert at the University of Surrey, said that if the data is also held in a vast database to allow for cross-referencing, it's painting a huge target on something that say, come and hack me. It's going to happen. It's gonna be a huge disaster, and it's gonna happen. At least if they go forward with this, which seems to be the case. The government has not yet provided detail on how they would make the system work. Sparking calls for greater transparency. You know that's really bad. Woodward's warning comes amid rising public concern about criminal data breaches, which this week hit a chain of children's nurseries, photos of infants leaked onto the dark web. I was told that would never happen. I was told it was state-of-the-art encryption. They are useless. They are extremely incompetent. And continue to cripple Jaguar Land Rover. Data, including photographs, has probably been criminally exfiltrated from a government ID system in Estonia, according to reports. The minister said that the new digital ID, which has been dubbed Bread Card, would take on small boat crosses by making it tougher to work illegal in the UK. Which is just a bunch of nonsense. New digital ID would tackle small boat crossings by making it tougher to work illegally in the UK. No correlation whatsoever. If they are in the UK illegally, they're already working there illegally because they like the proper paperwork, at the very least a national ID. But they are illegals, they're working illegally, and they will keep working illegally because having a digital ID does literally nothing. You keep constraining law-abiding citizens, trying to push laws as an excuse to go against criminals and illegal immigrants. It's not gonna do anything. Are you actually worried about small boat crossings? Boy, do I have a solution for you. Make your border great again. It's that easy. Enforce your borders, kick the illegals out, and make sure they never come back. But you're not doing that, because that's not the point of a digital ID. That's just an excuse. If that was the case, if you really wanted to do that, you wouldn't have people being arrested by spotting anti-illegal immigration rhetoric on social media or private chats, which has been happening. But they also said it could be used for applying for welfare, driving licenses, childcare, and access to tax records. You're not selling it to me, that's even worse. More of a security breach possibility here. The plan was criticized by civil liberties, campaigners, and leaders of the Liberal Democrats, Sinn Féin in Northern Ireland, and the SNP in Scotland. The government said that the new digital ID will be held on people's phones in the gov.uk wallet that has been developed to hold driving licenses. just as millions already use the NHS app or contactless mobile payments. I don't understand how you can see this and don't read this as, oh, this is gonna be a huge target. This is a huge place with a huge amount of information, and we know the security is gonna be trash. The scheme will draw inspiration from schemes in Australia, Estonia, India, and Denmark, it said. What great examples! Italy is an enormous opportunity for the UK, said the Stormer. They will make it tougher to work illegally in this country. No, it's gonna be the same. People that are working illegally will do the same thing to keep working illegally. Making our borders more secure. Once again, literally no correlation. It will also offer ordinary citizens countless benefits, like being able to prove your identity to access key services swiftly, rather than hunting around for an old utility bill. Okay, this is like the meme, right? I offer you me getting all of your information, location, and no privacy, and you get slight convenience. What a great deal. Companies including Deloitte, Bay Systems, PA Consulting, and Hinduja Global Solutions already have government contracts with a combined £100 million to support the scheme's IT systems. But industry estimates of the total cost of national digital ID range from 1.2 to £2 billion. US tech companies have also been circling the UK government. In February, Stormer was a guest at the headquarters of Palantir. I need to get more information on Palantir, but it's not looking good. You want my surveillance? Those guys. It is those guys. Co-funded by Trump donor Peter Thiel, which already has contracts with the NHS and the Ministry of Defense. OpenAI signed a memorandum of understanding with ministers earlier this year to explore the deployment of advanced AI models in public services. Last week, Stormer was the special guest on a stage at the corporate event in London for the $4 trillion chipmaker NVIDIA. That's a lot of money. Experts in government technology said most of the data needed is already held in government databases, including birth registers, e-visa records for migrants, on passports and driving licenses. Their storage companies such as Amazon and Google will provide a vast database for all the data to be gathered, but this would bring a greater security risk, Woodward said. Yes, everything here is a massive security risk. They don't care, because it's a security risk for you, not for them. They want this power. Thermo's announcement also sparked concerns that millions of people who lack credentials or suffer from digital poverty could be excluded from public services. How about your phone? How about I don't want to use my phone? How about that? If this doesn't go well, it could have serious consequences, especially for those in the margins of society who could be excluded, said Peter Chamberlain, who developed part of the scheme's digital architecture and is the Senior Director of Technology and Consultancy Public Digital. In order for this to succeed, transparency is absolutely crucial. It's always going to fail, because people forget something really important. Most of these fellas live in big cities. And you know what happens with big cities? You get big technology. Usually you get good internet connection. That's not the case in the whole country. You're gonna have rural areas that have not as great service, I suppose. So you're gonna be like, okay, I have everything on my phone, but the phone cannot connect to the internet because I'm in the middle of nowhere, Scotland, for example. So much for convenience. So much for convenience. Oh, but who want to live in the middle of nowhere, Kansas? Well, some people live there. What can you say? That's an old reference. That's a really old reference. Campaign group Liberty warned that digital IDs could become a nightmarish and surveillance system. A nightmarish surveillance system, yes. And this is the whole point. And I have to laugh. loudly when people say, oh, UK is about to become a surveillance state. Become? Become? Have you seen the amount of fucking cameras they have? Come on, dude, come on. Do not lie to me. Technological advancements mean that digital ID systems pose an even greater risk to privacy than indeed one last proposed in the 2000s. It said, a single and unique digital identity and set rules in databases will remove much of the individual's agency in managing the data. Also, once again, an attack on privacy. This information could be used to profile individuals across multiple datasets, both pose a particular risk to marginalized communities. What? They keep saying this. No matter where I read. Particular risk to marginalized communities. You're just saying this because this is good PR. It doesn't make any sense. In this case, it doesn't make any sense. It's horrible for everybody. So, what? Get out of here. The conservative leader, Kimi Ibaraki, said her party would oppose any push by the government to impose mandatory ID cards on law-abiding citizens. Ed Davey, leader of the Liberal Democrats, called the idea nonsensical and said the party will fight against it tooth and nail. When you have your supposedly ideological allies pushing against that, you know it's bad. Shit that can only happen in the UK. John Swine, is this an actual swine? The SNP Scottish First Minister said the mandatory ID was an infringement on daily lives and said by calling it Brit card, the Prime Minister seems to be attempting to force every Scot to declare ourselves British. They do not like that. In Northern Ireland, both Sinn Féin and the DUP also objected to the proposal. The Sinn Féin First Minister Michelle O'Neill calling it an attack on the Good Friday Agreement. I don't know anything about that, I suppose. That's hilarious. That's hilarious. But this is even worse than you might think. It's now that I've been talking for years about the social credit score from China is coming to the West, and it's gonna use a bunch of different nonsense. They're saying it themselves. Let me stop the music because we have a... hold up. We have a couple of videos here to watch. It's really that bad. Oh boy. So this is from Keir Starmer himself, as we can see here on the text. Keir Starling has an announcement through digital IDs. 39 seconds, he says the quiet bit out loud. Looking upstream or implying English in the future will be used to tackle poverty, conflict, and climate change. Digital ID has nothing to do with migration, it's about your freedoms, it always has been.
And that is why today I am announcing this government will make a new free-of-charge digital ID
free of charge? God fucking... God, good God. I would hope so, right?
mandatory for the right to work by the end of this Parliament. Let me spell that out. You will not be able to work in the United Kingdom if you do not have digital ID.
This is not about the immigrants, this is about you. You will not be able to have a proper job if you do not count out to digital ID. Because illegals are already working illegally anyway. They don't have actual IDs, they don't have the permits to work, they don't have anything they would need to actually work. But who cares? They're already criminals if they cross illegally into the country.
It's as simple as that. Because decent, pragmatic, fair-minded people.
Decent, pragmatic, fair-minded people, by the way.
They want us to tackle the issues that they see around them.
Yes, I say that is actually correct. But this is just an excuse. This is not the way to go. Pragmatic people are telling you, dude, what about the fucking illegal immigration? This is a big problem. What about the uptick in violent crimes? Digital ID does fuck all. What people want is for you to have strong border policies and kick the illegals out. You are not doing that. You're fucking over law-abiding citizens as usual.
And of course, the truth is,
Here comes the truth.
we won't solve our problems
Ah, he was right. The truth is, we won't solve our problems. Well, that is correct. Moving on.
if we don't also take on the root causes, looking upstream to tackle poverty, conflict, climate change, issues that aren't just intolerable for those of us who care about inequality and injustice wherever it's found in the world.
Poverty, conflict, and climate fucking change. Hilarious. Absolutely hilarious. Ah, boy, oh boy, oh boy. I do remember back in early 2024 when we were talking about social credit scores and how that was a thing already in some places thanks to a bunch of ESG numbers. And that article said, make no mistake about it, social credit score is going to include, is a big part of the deal, your carbon footprint. Here is the climate change. You know what? That car you're using, it's really bad. It contaminates a lot, so you cannot use it. And that's gonna be reflected on your social credit score. Everything here, as usual, is just about control. But then I'm supposed to believe the fascists are the opposition. Let's have this thing here. For me, talk show, Jeremy Vine. I thought Vine died. This girl absolutely names digital ID. Even Jeremy Vine can't argue against what he says as he knows he's right. A few years ago, he called him a conspiracy theorist, but people are waking up. Digital ID, communism.
In the words of Cilla Black, surprise, surprise. The government worked on this from 2021. They allocated £400 million.
Was way before 2021, as we were saying. Early 2000s.
Towards their digital identity program that they're calling the BRIC card. They're telling us it's going to solve the boat crisis. Absolute nonsense.
Not a big fan, or the biggest fan of British people, but that absolute nonsense. It's always hilarious to me.
This is part of a World Economic Forum plan to lock us down, and it's all about control.
You see, I'm just wondering whether you're reading from Scotland, whether.
Of course, this guy is going in completely different tangents. I don't think he likes what the caller here is mentioning, but it's not going to work.
Actually, people might not, if you're Scottish nationalist, you might really resent having to tap an app that's called Brit app and Brit card and has a Union Jack on it.
I'm not a British nationalist, I'm a realist. And
I'm a Scottish nationalist. It may not be you. I'm asking you to think about other people for a second. If there are people who are Scottish nationalists, they may object to having an app that's called a Brit card with a Union Jack.
Well, I think they should object to an app, whether it's got a Union Jack, a Welsh Dragon, or the Scottish Saltire, that is designed to control them and establish a digital prison. And for the people on your
Digital prison, it's not wrong.
Panel that are for this, there's a word for that, and that is called short-sighted ignorance, or a phrase, willful ignorance. How the hell can anyone be for this? It's just, look it up, guys. Look up digital ID, look up the CBDC, look up the social credit system, and stand up and tell the government where to get off.
Where to get off? Yeah, they can fuck off. That's for sure. Oh boy. Coming. It's coming. And if you think this is just the UK, oh boy. It's never just the UK. It will keep happening. All around. Because the powers that be want to keep pushing this absolute nonsense. Hold up. There we go. So what do we get after the EU tells us, what about you don't actually get a right to privacy? What do we get when the UK tells us, well, what about digital ID? Well, obviously, digital currencies. EU finance ministers approved roadmap for digital euro. Different decision on holding limits amid privacy concerns. Privacy concerns, but didn't care about those, did they? It's not anonymous, and for many, that's already a deal breaker. Why would you want the government, of all people the government, which are extremely corrupt, especially in some places, to have full access to how you spend your money? This is also going to affect stuff in a really strange way, right? You know, when you go to have lunch at your grandma's and whatnot, and she gives you like 20 bucks or 50 bucks if you're lucky. She's being nice. But you need to declare that to the IRS, or the equivalent, in some places. That's not good, and that's only gonna be even worse with this. Okay, where are you spending your money? Why are you asking me? Where's the government spending my money? That's my main issue. Cam Bacon. If only it was Cam Bacon. That'd be good. EU finance ministers have signed off on a roadmap that could pave the way for a digital euro. Aligning hand caps on individual holdings would be introduced. Without setting those limits just yet. Oh god, this is even worse than I expected, because this is not pre-rel. Caps on individual holdings. You will have nothing, and you will be happy. Well, you won't be happy, but you cannot complain. The decision made during an Eurogroup meeting in Copenhagen. Oh, again, it's always Denmark, isn't it? Edges the European Central Bank closer to launching its own digital currency, even as skepticism grows over how the system could affect personal financial freedom. Financial freedom? Do you think you're free to use your money as you see fit? Absolutely not. Only the ideologues can tell you how to do so. It's incredible this is not about a collective shout at this point. Rather than settling on specific numbers, Mr. agreed on a timetable and institutional process for introducing holding limits. A senior official at the press conference emphasized that the discussion focused on the how, not the how much, yet. That distinction comes at a moment when digital currency plans are drawing increased scrutiny across Europe and beyond. In the UK, central bank proposals to limit stablecoin balances have already prompted warnings from digital asset advocates, concerned about restricting financial choice. This is because they fear crypto. Because with crypto you have too much freedom, and I say this while not being a fan of cryptocurrencies. But that is undeniable. They don't like that. They don't like that. What do you mean? You can move around your money freely and spend it as you see fit. Don't you think that's literal fascism? I keep saying that. Then we need to take a look at this. We might need to. Whoa, that's kinda big. Hold up. Hold up, let me move this. Okay, I guess I can just do this. Holy moly, that's. Oh, that's bigger than my OBS screen. Okay, I got you. I got you. Just need to make this a little bit smaller. And move it to the side again. There we go. There we go. We got it. Number 7, this is an official document. Launching the digital euro and setting the ceiling for the holding limit. Step 0. Announcement of the envisaged dates of issuance of the digital euro. Following a discussion in the European Council, the ECB announces the envisaged dates of issuance of the digital euro. Just said the same thing twice. More than 24 months before launch. Okay. Step 1. Report. The ECB prepares and publishes a technical report on the limits for the use of the digital euro as a store of value. Step 2. Recommendation. The ECB submits to the Council a recommendation for a CID, in agreement with the COM, and the ceiling for the digital euro holding limit. More than 12 months before launch. Step 3. Decision. Within 6 months of the submission of the recommendation, the Council shall adopt the CID on the ceiling, acting by reinforced QMV of Euro area member states. The Council can amend the recommendation, acting by reinforced QMV of Euro area member states, more than 6 months before launch. And finally, the launch. The ECB takes the decision to issue the digital euro and sets the holding limit, respecting any ceiling set by the Council that may be in place. If the Council does not adopt the CID, the ECB issues the digital euro and set the holding limit. Interesting. Interesting. Okay, can we... There we go. Back to that. I think it's a little bit better. The holding cap issue has been a persistent source of disagreement among EU institutions. The ECB's own report at the end of 2024 pointed to this friction. A political letter revealed current tensions between the central bank and national counterparts, some of whom are uneasy about undermining traditional banking. Still, the ECB is pressing forward. For member Piero Cipollone, no, it's Italian, right? So it's Piero Cipollone has argued that the digital euro would be a reliable, privacy-protecting alternative to cash. Privacy-protecting, by the way. Yeah, sure thing. Particularly in emergencies. This is a lie. You already have cards. If you want to use digital money, you have credit cards or debit cards. What's the difference? I have no idea. The bank will not know anything about the payer and the payee, he said earlier this month. Insisting the offline version would match cash for confidentiality. It's not about the bank knowing or not knowing. It's about the government knowing or not knowing. They will know. Of course they will. Even so, privacy defenders are unconvinced. The very architecture of a centrally issued digital currency raises red flags, especially if access is limited or monitored under the guise of managing risk. Of course it's gonna be monitored, come on, it's the EU. What did you expect? Offline or not, skeptics argue, there's no guarantee anonymity will hold up once the system is live. It will not be held up, as we've seen here, because you cannot even have encrypted messaging anyway. So, clearly, you don't have privacy anymore. The framework adopted by the Eurogroup lays out a step-by-step process. If the ECB decides to go ahead, it must signal the intended launch at least 2 years in advance, so people can leave the country, I suppose. Well, not the country, but the Union in general. Doesn't help if you move from Italy to, I don't know, Germany. You're still the European Union. That doesn't help. Within 12.6 months before rollout, the central bank will submit this proposed cap to the European Council. That body will have half a year to respond, after which the ECB will finalize both the decision to launch and the limit itself. In a recent speech, European Commissioner Valdis Dombrovskis, Valdis a cool name, I guess, pointed to geopolitical instability as a reason to accelerate the project. And that will accelerate people living in return, which is funny. Well, if they can, of course. Recent developments in today's more complex, conflictual world have also underlined the urgency of making progress on the introduction of the digital euro, he said, adding that he hopes for important progress in the near term. Okay, cool. Recent developments, conflictual world. Would you give me some examples? Because I just don't believe you. If anything, most of the issues I've seen get fixed with physical money. Hilarious. What remains unclear is how much public buy-in the project can earn. Privacy, access, and autonomy are still up in the air, while officials continue to frame the digital euro as a safe, modern form of cash, and everyone is convinced the trade-offs are worth it. Yeah, of course not. Of course not. And even then, even if we didn't have this issue about privacy, about control from the government, possible hacking and whatnot, and being completely useless because, once again, if you want to pay digitally and you don't have cash, that has been a thing for more than my life with credit and debit cards. Okay? It's not a big deal. You also have, they're not that common in Europe, I guess. Or at least I don't think they're that common. They're unstable in the USA. Just run a check. It's that easy. It's just that fucking easy, dude. But the main thing here is that people don't know how much they're spending when they don't see the cash. I was really disappointed years ago when it was the last time I went to the movies with my friends. We went to watch Dragon Ball Super Hero. We were along in the movie theater. It was really funny. But after that, we went to have some dinner, obviously. And we went to, I think it was Popeyes. It was my first time there. It was okay. But I found that it was actually a really expensive place. I was the only guy in the entire store that was paying with cash. Oh, but you can just pay with your card. You can just pay with your phone here. You only need to flash your phone here, and it's paid. And like, okay, but first of all, I don't want to do that. Second, I can't because I don't have banking apps on my phone because I know phones are trash security-wise. And second of all, if I'm gonna be spending, I don't know, it was like 18 bucks, I need to know I'm spending 18 bucks. I need to see the money. I understand that I'm spending 18 bucks. It was on my wallet. And the food was okay. The ice cream was okay. It was not 18 bucks okay. Let me tell you. So, people that have trouble keeping money will have even more trouble. And of course, that's only a small issue. This is just about control. What do you mean you lent somebody 350? That's not allowed. We are the IRS and we're going to kill you in real life in your phone. There's no winning. There's no fucking winning with these people. It's horrible. It's fucking horrible. I've always been, and will always be, a huge proponent of physical money. Because that's a tiny way you have, but an important way nonetheless, to still have value in the money. Because if they are just numbers, it's just made up bullshit. And I understand that the money you have in the bank, it's actually just numbers, but you can take it out as physical currency. I don't know, I don't think I need to explain this further. I think this is clear at this point. What do we have here? Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Speaking of never winning against these people, let's talk about fucking Nintendo for a little bit, shall we? Oh boy, this fucking thing with Nintendo Power has been a massive pain in the ass. But at least they're showing their true colors. They're extremely annoying. And yes, they will use the full extent of the law to fuck you over. And this might fuck games even further, which is never good. Nintendo argues mods don't count as proper games, as Pokemon vs. Palworld lawsuit continues. It has argued mods shouldn't be recognized as prior art, and therefore are irrelevant to its ongoing lawsuit with Palworld creator Pocket Pair. As part of its defense against alleged copyright infringement of the Pokemon games, Pocket Pair has pointed to mods as an example of prior art that would invalidate Nintendo's patent claims. Specifically, it highlighted the Pocket Souls Pokemon mod for Dark Souls 3, which allowed players to capture and battle with enemies in the game. And this is hilarious. Pocket Souls, or even Pokemon, was not the first guys to come up with the monster collector genre. Before that we had both Dragon Quest Monsters and Megami Tensei. It's just pure nonsense. Having a response spotted by Game Freak, Nintendo is put in the defense because it believes milestones stand on the wrong as they require an original game to run on. As such, most shouldn't be subject to patent infringement in the same way Palworld is. This is the same Nintendo that was accusing Palworld of only being as successful as they are because they have mods like the Pokemon mod, and they were trying to get Palworld to completely eliminate their mod support, which is insane to me. Game Freak points out, game makers have looked to mods for inspiration, so Pocket Trash defense should be valid. PC Gamer reported Japanese courts have a history of siding with patent lawsuit defendants, able to present a sample of prior art. That's why Pocket Pair is using Pokemon theme mods such as an example, which Nintendo's now attempting to invalidate. It's not even Pokemon themed, I don't think. I'm not sure. Maybe it's not the model now. Now do I know about this Elden Ring? Earlier this month, Nintendo was granted the patent in the US based on the gameplay mechanic of summoning a sub-character to fight another, which covers whether the summoned character battles on player input or automatically, which is pretty much anything with a party, which is a huge amount of games. Game industry lawyer Richard Hogg told Eurogamer the patent is enforceable insofar as it has been granted, but Nintendo likely knows it's got away with one here and would prefer not to make a court actually sign off. Yeah, I don't know if they can take out the patent because it's way too broad. Tom McGowan, former chief legal officer at Pokemon Company, meanwhile believes the patent will likely be ignored. It should be ignored, it's way too broad. It should be illegal. And that's pretty much it here. Palworld also announced Pal Farm, new game. It's just the farming sim. I'm not too much into those types of games, but I hope it's good, honestly. I will keep looking at it. Just to see how it progresses. Have to have another successful game, they deserve it. Especially because that's another middle finger to Nintendo. Speaking of middle fingers, Square Enix is back at it again. Square Enix once again removes gender in a remaster. Final Fantasy Tactics: The Evil's Chronicles, they now list characters under recruits. We're still having jobs such as Bard and Dancer being locked to male/female characters. Make it make sense. Apparently, this here has an easy explanation, which is when you hit recruits, the game generates like 15 NPCs for you to choose from between male and female, just a random group, and then you have female only, male and male only for different characters. So this is not the be-all and all, some people are saying. Not this. I don't think this game is gonna be good anyway. Funny enough, it's gonna have less content than the PSP version anyway, so why bother with this? That's always been my issue. Nonetheless, it's not the only thing that's troublesome here. We have a problem with the social media director, in that the social media director for Square Enix has recently followed an individual who advocated for making people feel unwelcome at FanFest, on top of other implied threats of violence, aka punching fascists and the like. This company's lost. So we have here an obvious Braidbong, Sunil Godania, clear Braidbong. The God followed me. I'm social media director of Square Enix. Nice to meet you. That's a little bit strange. Your enemies are going to hate this. What the fuck is this guy again? No idea. It seems like a fucking idiot, a propagandist and all that. So you know it's bad. You best remember the hit and doom posting do not belong in Final Fantasy and Square Enix community. Make no mistake about it. I mentioned this many times before. I will mention this again. These people, these social media directors, these community managers and whatnot, that's always been an extremely dystopian position to have, because they manage the community for the company. That's never good. That's never good. And see, look at this guy, this look of scheme. Hating them posting to not belong in Final Fantasy and Square Enix community. Who the fuck are you to dictate the community? You're nobody. Have this. I'm playing innocent. Oh, I'm innocent, unlike you fascist tumors. Punch the fash. Classic meme. Don't let them feel welcome at FanFest if they step in and say this utter nonsense. Once again, you did that. What are you going to do at FanFest to make them feel unwelcomed? If Lamental or someone you deflect goes, what are you intending to do? Oh, not lying. Sure lying, we know, come on. We just saw this. I said don't let them feel welcome, apparently somehow making your friends feel uncomfortable. What will you all do? When you feel intimidated if I glare at you, tell you to peace out, or even tell others to avoid you? You're really threatening with such reaction. Well, when we have people killing each other for ideological reasons, we know what we're talking about. And it's kinda gay, right? It's kinda gay to police followings, but in this case, it's usually really telling. Which is always a problem too. As if your social media director blocking people for asking valid questions. Oh, but let's not forget, you'll on to repost messages about purging political opponents and mourn the death of a known murderer who also escaped prison, and sooner or later doing the same escape. And we've seen this piece of work on the aftermath of Charlie Kirk's death. And there was a mention here somewhere. There was this guy, the Golden Boy. He also blocks people from official Square Enix Twitter accounts if he doesn't agree with their opinions. He's blocked me from 4 that I've noticed so far. He apparently doesn't like it if you bring up the gender thing in Final Fantasy Tactics, which they would say, you stupid idiot, it's still there, the option is just a little bit different. They're generating characters 1 by 1, it's 15 by 15, it's not that big of a deal. So, yeah, I don't know about all that. That seems really suspicious. That seems really suspicious, man. What can you say? Oh, fuck. Once again, Square Enix being trash. Unsurprisingly. And let us finish for today with this thing I found the other day on The Guardian. Why do some gamers invert their controls? Scientists now have answers, but they're not what you think. Phenomenal response to an article we published in this question led to detailed cognitive research, and the findings have implications that go way beyond gamers. Yeah, it's not that long. 5 years ago, on the verge of the first COVID lockdown, everything goes back to COVID today. I wrote an article asking what seemed to be an extremely niche question. Why do some people invert their controls when playing through the games? A majority of players push down on the control to make their on-screen character look down, and have to make them look up. But there's a sizable minority who do the opposite. Control their avatars like a pilot controls a plane, pulling back to go up. For most modern games, this requires going into the settings and reconfiguring the default controls. Why do they still persist? I thought a few hardcore gamers would be interested in the question. Instead, more than 1 million people read the article, and the ensuing debate got the attention of Dr. Jennifer Corbett. According to the original piece, and Dr. Monique, it's the name, okay? You cannot blame me, it's not a slur. They measured the visual perception and attention lab at Brunel University London. At the time, the two were conducting research into vision science and cognitive neuroscience. When the country locked down, they were no longer able to test volunteers in the laboratory, for obvious reasons. Oh. The question of controller inversion provided the perfect opportunity to study the neuroscience of human-computer interactions using remote subjects. They put out a call for gamers willing to help research the reasons behind controller inversion and received many hundreds of replies. Yeah, makes sense. Flight Simulator, that has to be really old, right? Wasn't just gamers who were interested. Mechanists, equipment and operators, pilots, designers, surgeons, people from so many different backgrounds reached out. Says Corbett. Because there were so many different answers, we realized we had a lot of scientific literature to review to design the best possible study. Reuters' responses turned this study into the first of its kind, to try to figure out what actually are those factors that shape how users configure their controllers. Personal experiences throughout the games, different genres, age, consoles, which way you scroll with a mouse, all these things could potentially be involved. The way you scroll? Really? Nah, that's making me curious. This month, they do publish their findings in a paper entitled Y-Axis Inversion, optimizing interactions between users, interfaces, and visual displays in 3D environments. And the reason why some people invert their controls, it's complicated. I bet it is. The process started with participants completing a survey about their backgrounds and gaming experiences. Many people told us that playing a Flight Simulator using a certain type of console, or the first game they played, were the reasons they preferred to invert or not, says Corbett. Many also said they switched preferences over time. We add a whole new section to the study based on all this feedback. Hold up, I need to blow my nose here. It's getting really stuffy. Give me a second. Fuck. It's annoying. It's been getting really humid lately. It's kinda getting a little bit cold too. It's wild. But Corbett and Manek, now based on MIT and Northeastern University respectively, were certain that there would also be important cognitive components to the inversion question that could be measured only through behavioral responses. So they devised the questionnaire and a series of 4 experiments that participants would take part in while being instructed and observed via Zoom. As Corbett explains, they had dimensional rotate random shapes, taking the perspective of an avatar object in a picture, determine which way something was tilted in different tilted backgrounds, and overcome the typically Simon effect, where started to respond when a target is on the opposite or the same side of the screen as the response button. Then we used some machine learning algorithms to help us sort through all of the survey and experiment data and pick out what combination of all of these things best explain whether someone inverted. Sounds a little bit silly when mentioning inversion. What they discovered through the cognitive testing was that a lot of assumptions being made around controller preferences were wrong. None of these reasons people gave us for inverting controls had anything to do with whether they actually inverted, says Corbett. Turns out the most predictive out of all of these factors we measured was how quickly gamers could mentally rotate things and overcome the Simon effect. The faster they were, the less likely they were to invert. Oh, that's interesting. People said the sentence inverted were by far the slowest in this task. Sentence invert. You are the slowest, that's insane. So does this mean that non-inverters are better gamers? No, says Corbett. Well, I don't invert, and I'm gonna say, screw you, I'm the better gamer. They tended to be faster, didn't get the correct answer more than inverters who were actually slightly more accurate. Oh, that's interesting. Sometimes being too fast is also a problem. In short, gamers think they are an inverter or a non-inverter because of how they were first exposed to game controls. Some who played a lot of flight sims in the 80s may have unconsciously taught themselves to invert, and now they consider that their innate preference. Alternatively, a gamer who grew up in the 2000s, when non-inverted controls became prevalent, may think they are naturally a non-inverter. However, cognitive tests suggest otherwise. It's much more likely that you invert or don't invert to how your brain perceives objects in 3D space. Can't you rotate the apple? Everything goes back to that. That's crazy. Do you rotate the apple or not? I can eat the 3D apple in my mind if I try hard enough. Basically, Corbett says that it may improve you as a gamer to try the control setup you're currently not using. An inverter should give inversion a try. Sounds kinda gay. An inverter should give no inversion another shot, she says. You might even want to force yourself to stick with it for a few hours. People have learned one way. That doesn't mean they won't learn another way even better. A good example is being left-handed. Until the mid-20th century, left-handed children were forced to write with the right hand. And not just the mid-20th century, but sure. It's some people to have lifelong handwriting difficulties and learning problems. Many older adults still don't realize they're naturally left-handed and could write so much better if they switched back. Yeah, some people actually managed to become ambidextrous. That happened to my father, actually. It's kind of funny. Because he was naturally left-handed. We only understood that way later. But it's really easy because he used some tools with the left hand and not the right hand. That's kind of funny to think about, I guess. Through this research, Corbett and Manek have established that they are complex and often unconscious cognitive processes involving how individuals use controllers. But these may have important ramifications for not just game hardware, for any human computer interfaces, from aircraft controls to surgical devices. They were able to design a framework for assessing how to best configure controls for any given individual, and have now made it available via the research paper. This work opened our eyes to the huge potential that optimizing... I keep saying optimizing instead of optimizing, I don't know why. I think I'm trying to say optimistic. And optimizing version settings are for advancing human-machine teaming, says Corbett. So many technologies are pairing humans with AI and other machines to augment what we can do alone. Understanding how a given individual best performs with a certain setup, motor configuration, screen placement, whether they are trying to hit a target or avoid an obstacle, can allow for much smoother interactions between humans and machines, and such scenarios from partnering with an AI player to defeat a boss, to preventing damage to delicate internal tissue while performing a complicated laparoscopic surgery. Are we sure gamers are not the best surgeons? We don't know that. That's silly to think about. I guess there's some sort of overlap. Time to play Trauma Center, I guess. That was the name. So you want to start with an either slightly nerdy question has now become a published cognitive research paper. One scientific publication has already cited it, and interview requests are pouring in from podcasts and YouTubers. As for my takeaway, the most surprising finding for gamers who don't invert is that they might perform better if they practice with an inverted control scheme, says Corbett. Maybe not, but given our findings, it's definitely worth a shot because it could dramatically improve competitive gameplay. I don't know if that makes any sense. I guess you can try. Training is always an interesting idea, I suppose. Oh fuck, my throat is starting to give out. It's not 100% yet. It's kind of annoying, but what can you do? It's way better than through the past couple of streams. I didn't completely fucked it on Thursday, which is always nice. But anyway, it's time for me to take my leave. Plan for next week. Well, schedule will be out tomorrow on YouTube as usual. But we're gonna be finishing for real Final Fantasy VI. We're gonna be doing the Dragon's Den. It's gonna be cool. We're gonna be finishing actually Pokemon Colosseum. We're gonna be doing the 100 fights for Hall. And we'll keep playing Legacy of Goku 2. Which, funny enough, I made a big fucking mistake in that game. It was not just not scanning Tatogero. I forgot to scan the Triceratops King when I actually won the fight. So I had to replay the game again. Thankfully it's not that long, it was not that difficult. I managed to first try every single fight. And I think I've been getting better level ups with Gohan, which is kinda nice. But I'm back at the exact same spot I was in last stream, so that's pretty okay. Anyway, thank you for coming. I hope you had some fun. We're coming back on Final Fantasy for more Monday. On Monday for more Final Fantasy VI. And until then, you know the rules. Fuck the government. I don't like them. They're a bunch of annoying authoritarian fucks that will fuck you over if given the chance. And take care.